Welcome to The Explainer. So glad you're joining us today. Have you ever actually wondered why we hurt so deeply? Look, we all struggle with emotional pain, right? But what if I told you that the very armor we build to protect ourselves from that pain is actually the exact thing destroying us from the inside out? Today, we're going to take a really profound, intimate look at our universal struggle with suffering, and we'll be doing it through the lens of Carl Jung's depth psychology. Let's get right into it. Okay, so let's dive into this. Why do some people literally collapse from a single word, while others can survive devastating loss? It's a contrast we've all witnessed, isn't it? A minor criticism completely shatters one person, while another walks through a massive betrayal with their head held high. You might just assume it's because some folks are naturally stronger, or maybe they've just built thicker walls to shield their hearts. But actually, the real reason why abandonments or betrayals hurt us so deeply is completely contrary to what we've been taught. And that brings us to this core truth. It is not the event, it's what the event awakens within you. On the surface, we try to armor ourselves, right? We try being stronger, smarter, kinder, kind of hoping that if we just become better, we can somehow avoid pain altogether. We try to control how the world treats us. But here's the thing, that control, it's a complete illusion. You see, absolutely nothing that comes from the outside has any power over you unless it finds an echo, like an open wound already living inside you. Which leads us to Section 1, the underworld and the incredible power of the unconscious. To figure out where these open wounds are hiding, we really have to shift our focus away from the external world, other people's actions, and take a psychological descent right beneath the surface of our own minds. The unconscious isn't just some passive, foggy cloud of forgotten memories drifting in the background. Not at all. It's an active, living system. It is absolutely packed with your unresolved experiences and fears. And most importantly, it governs your reactions. When you leave it unexamined, it acts as this invisible force making decisions for you, shaping your attachments and your anxieties, all while you mistakenly walk around believing you're totally in control. Carl Jung famously said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Man, that is a heavy, uncompromising truth. Just think about the repeating emotional patterns in your own life for a second. Attracting the exact same toxic situations just with different faces. Or experiencing sudden anger completely out of nowhere. We call it bad luck. We call it fate. But Jung says, no. It's simply your own unexamined mind running the whole show from the shadows. So the crucial takeaway here is super urgent. Stop living on autopilot. Really, that's the modern translation of Jung's powerful warning. The greatest lie you've ever been told is that you're in control while you simultaneously refuse to look inward. You're reacting without knowing why, making decisions that you later end up sabotaging. It is incredibly urgent that we wake up from this reactive state. Moving right along to Section 2, the messengers. The hidden message in pain. Because look, if you don't wake up voluntarily, your mind has ways of forcing you to pay attention. It's actually a fascinating survival mechanism. Neuroscience shows us that the brain processes emotional and physical pain almost identically. A severe emotional wound registers in your body a lot like a broken bone. So when we ignore our inner wounds, they don't just magically disappear. They transform. They become anxiety, sudden anger, emptiness and apathy, chronic fatigue, self-sabotage, destructive addictions. The unconscious is always looking for an exit, and it's going to manifest through these devastating costs if you just keep repressing it. Ignored pain burrows deep down into your nervous system, until one day the whole shebang collapses, and you call it a sudden crisis. But it was never sudden, was it? It was just accumulated silence. Jung radically reframed this suffering. He said, depression is like a woman in black. If she turns up, don't shoo her away, invite her in and listen to what she has to say. We're basically conditioned from day one to hate pain, right? To numb it, stay busy, run as fast as we can from it. But Jung introduces a radical idea here. Pain is not a system error. It's not your enemy. It's actually a sacred messenger. It is the honest alarm system of your soul, desperately trying to guide you to exactly what needs healing. Let's look at Section 3, the unmasking, or dissolving the persona. To actually listen to that messenger, we have to drop our defenses and strip off our psychological armor. The persona is essentially this socially convenient mask, this psychological armor we build just to survive, be accepted, and, well, hide what's real. And here's the deeply disturbing truth that this explainer brings to light. Much of what you probably consider your identity, your achievements, your toughness, the image you project so people admire you, it isn't really you. It's a survival strategy. It's a shell you constructed to protect yourself. But surviving is definitely not the same thing as truly living. Society constantly feeds us this myth of fake strength, closing ourselves off, building giant walls, acting like absolutely nothing gets to us. But that's really just repression and numbness. Deep down inside, you're still bleeding. True strength, on the other hand, is far more uncomfortable. It requires deep awareness, real acceptance, and facing your raw, unfiltered self. It's not about never hurting, it's about knowing exactly who you are, even while you bleed. Jung captured the essence of this so beautifully when he said, "Know all the theories, master all the techniques, but as you touch a human soul, be just another human soul." That human soul that you keep hiding behind your desperate need for control, invulnerability, and strict discipline, it's literally just asking to be seen. You don't need to put on a performance of strength or prove anything to anyone. And that brings us to Section 4, the return, the path to individuation. Once we finally unmask and see that soul, we can begin our ascent. Individuation is this core Jungian process of becoming whole by integrating both your light and your shadow into a stable consciousness. And I really want you to notice what it doesn't say here. It doesn't say becoming morally perfect or becoming what society expects you to be. It's about becoming complete. It's about looking at the beautiful and the ugly, the noble and the shameful, and recognizing that, they all belong to the exact same complete self. And when you do that, you unlock this truly profound, penetrating truth. No one can use against you what you have already embraced within yourself. When you finally turn inward and face your own monsters, your shame, your dependencies, your deepest insecurities, you can look directly at them and say, "I see you, and you no longer rule me." Once you do that, external rejection and criticism, they completely lose their power to dismantle you. Which lands us at our final section, Section 5, True Emotional Immunity. We've descended into the unconscious, we've faced the persona, and we've learned to integrate. So what does life actually look like when we achieve this integrated conscious state? Well, it's not some one-time magical event. It's an active daily choice. Step 1, stop resisting what hurts. Step 2, take full responsibility for your internal triggers. That means no more blaming others, no more blaming the past. And step 3, expand your conscious awareness. We basically have to stop running from life, stop avoiding the silence, and start immersing ourselves fully and bravely right into our own depths. Because if we don't, we fall victim to one final, completely uncompromising law of Jungian psychology. What you resist persists, and what you accept transforms. For so long, you've probably been resisting the fear of not being enough, the pain of loneliness, the anxiety of feeling unseen. And all that intense effort to fight it, it's just left you utterly exhausted. You're fighting the world and yourself at the exact same time. But acceptance? Acceptance naturally transforms all that inner friction into genuine peace. The core thesis of this entire explainer really boils down to this. Emotional immunity is clarity, it's not hardness. Real protection absolutely does not come from building a thicker shell or becoming a colder, more distant person. It comes from being incredibly grounded and completely conscious right in the middle of the storm. You still feel pain, of course you do, but it doesn't break you. You can be wounded, but you don't fragment because you have the clarity to understand exactly what is happening inside you. And this leaves us with one final, undeniable question. Will you continue surviving asleep, or will you actively choose consciousness? You've seen the cost of living on the surface, wearing those masks and letting your unexamined wounds run your entire life. Living asleep is simply no longer an option once you've seen the truth. So if this explainer challenged you today, if you're finally ready to stop running and dive deep into your own mind, leave a comment below saying, "I choose consciousness." Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating material with me today, and as always, keep seeking clarity.